on, come on, come on. No! Hey guys, Jason the Bruce here. The main purpose of this video is actually to show you how effective the inks are that I mentioned in one of the most recent podcasts. The miniature that the miniatures that you're going to be watching me paint here are all from the Marvel Crisis Protocol game that was released last Friday from Atomic Mass Games. This is using the Marvel intellectual property, basing very heavily on the comics, not so much on the movies, at least at this point. There's certainly influences there that we've seen and have discussed already, but most of this is based on the comic books themselves. At the moment, the primer that I'm using is a Vallejo Black primer. The miniatures themselves are actually a genuine delight to build, but I would recommend 100% not to build these without looking at the instructions. Personally, I would go onto the Atomic Mass Games website, download the updated version of the instructions, because they will actually give you the part numbers, where the ones that come in the game themselves has that as an omission. Not a deliberate one, it was just, from what I understand, it was just an oversight during the editing process. So, as I said, the miniatures from the game itself is just delightful. I really, really enjoyed building them. The fact that I'm a Marvel fan to begin with probably has a lot to do with that. But to be fair, and I'm sorry for fans of the company in question, but the Knight miniatures game that they tried to do, I wasn't a fan of the quality of the work that they were putting out at the time. I understand that it has improved a great deal since they lost the Marvel property. But this stuff builds really easily. It's hard plastic, which means you can use plastic glue. You don't have to use super glue. There's just nothing about this that I'm not a fan of so far. I haven't played a game of it yet, but from what I've seen, the game plays very well. For anybody that's wondering, the airbrush that I'm currently using is a Badger Patriot 105. This is kind of their entry level. It's the airbrush that I've been recommending to people for years at this point. Mine's 5.5 years old, or 5 years old or something. I had to do some maintenance to it fairly recently, but otherwise it's been really good. You can see in the background there's a Badger airbrush cleaner as well, which in my opinion is the best one on the market. And the footage itself is going to cut in a minute when I eventually get to a point of having to clean the airbrush, and I just decide to move on from there. Okay, so this is the ink that I'm referring to. Dale Rowney FW. I may be saying that slightly wrong. The actual product itself has a pipette built into the lid that you will see me show you in a second. I apologise for the graininess of the footage, by the way. I've actually cropped. This is recorded on my phone, which was blue tacked onto a light stand behind me. So that was the pipette. And I've cropped it so that it's in the right-ish frame size. If I had have kept it at a widescreen, it was just that the graininess was too much. What I'm pointing out to you there is that you do not have to thin this product. You can run this straight through your airbrush without problem. And I'm just going to be quiet and let you see this. I'm never using white primer ever again. Look at that. That's not sped up. That is one coat over pure black primer. Look at how intense that is. Now I speed it up here because I kind of get fussy and start going a little overboard. because I want the final paint on Hulk specifically to be very bright. For those that aren't aware, I'm trying to replicate Epic Duck Studios' comic book style with these particular miniatures, mainly because I want to try and push myself and do something different, and it's not a style that I've kind of been backing off from this one a little bit for a while. Kind of like non-metallic metals. It's something I want to try, but I keep on backing off from. But quite frankly, after using this, I'm never using white primer ever again. There's just no need for it. This is way more effective, a lot easier to use, and I mean, I don't care if it's Badger, I don't care if it's Vallejo, I quite frankly don't care if G-Dub finds out how to do white paint for a change. This is just easier in every way. I can use it straight. I don't have to thin it down. I had no issues with this clogging anything. It was really effective. From what I understand, this is available in the United States. It should be available in the UK as well. I will share details on the podcast. Thanks, guys.